In the long history of football, there are moments that transcend goals, trophies, and final scores. Some moments live forever not because of what happened on the scoreboard, but because of what they represented. The day Cristiano Ronaldo and Ronaldinho Gaúcho met for the first time was one of those moments. It was not merely a match, it was the symbolic meeting of two football philosophies, two mentalities, and two completely different visions of greatness. At the dawn of the 2000s, European football stood at a crossroads. The game was still deeply rooted in creativity, flair, and street-born magic, yet a new era was quietly approaching, an era driven by physical perfection, relentless discipline, and obsessive ambition. Ronaldinho Gaúcho was the living embodiment of football joy. He played with a smile that felt contagious, as if the game itself was a celebration. Every touch carried imagination, every dribble felt improvised, and every pass seemed guided by instinct rather than calculation. Cristiano Ronaldo, by contrast, was still a rising force, a young Portuguese winger with raw talent, explosive speed, and eyes fixed firmly on a future he had already envisioned. Ronaldinho entered that first encounter as a global superstar. His reputation preceded him, defenders feared him, crowds adored him, and teammates trusted him instinctively. He had already proven himself on the biggest stages, transforming matches into performances and stadiums into theaters of magic. Cristiano Ronaldo arrived from a different place, hungry, ambitious, and unfinished. He was not yet the icon he would become, but there was something unmistakable in his posture, his intensity, and his refusal to blend into the background. When they first saw each other on the pitch, words were unnecessary. Football speaks through movement, through posture, through confidence. Ronaldinho saw a young player burning with desire, someone who wanted more than applause, someone who wanted dominance. Cristiano saw something almost mythical, a footballer who played as if pressure did not exist, as if the game was meant only to be enjoyed. In that brief exchange of glances, respect was born, even if rivalry had not yet taken shape. The warm-up revealed everything. Ronaldinho treated the ball like an old friend, juggling effortlessly, playing playful passes, smiling as if he were back on the streets of Porto Alegre. Cristiano, on the other hand, repeated drills with almost mechanical focus, short sprints, sharp turns, powerful strikes. His expression was serious, intense, as if each movement was a step closer to destiny. Even before the match began, the contrast was clear: joy versus obsession, art versus discipline, instinct versus construction. As the game kicked off, the atmosphere shifted. Every time Ronaldinho touched the ball, anticipation filled the stadium. Fans leaned forward, waiting for something extraordinary. Every time Cristiano accelerated down the flank, there was urgency, an electric sense that something dangerous might happen at any second. The match itself became a silent conversation between generations. Then came the moment everyone remembers. Ronaldinho received the ball, lifted his head, and smiled, just slightly. Cristiano positioned himself carefully, trying to read what would come next. The dribble was smooth, effortless, almost gentle. The crowd erupted. It was not humiliation, it was artistry. A simple reminder from a master who ruled that territory. That single movement captured everything Ronaldinho represented: freedom, confidence, and natural brilliance. Cristiano did not shrink. He reacted the only way he knew how, by pushing harder. He demanded the ball more often, ran faster, took greater risks. Every touch from Ronaldinho seemed to fuel something inside him. That was the moment Cristiano began to understand a crucial truth: talent alone was aware enough to inspire, but not enough to dominate an era. If he wanted to reach that level of admiration, and perhaps go beyond it, he would have to outwork everyone who stood in his way. As the match progressed, football history quietly took notes. Ronaldinho shone as the face of a generation that believed football was art first and competition second. Cristiano emerged as the symbol of a future where excellence would be engineered through sacrifice, repetition, and unbreakable mentality. They were not rivals yet, but they were mirrors of two different paths toward immortality. When the final whistle blew, there was no dramatic confrontation. Just a brief handshake, a respectful nod, a fleeting glance. To the crowd, it meant little. To football itself, it meant everything. Ronaldinho recognized that this young Portuguese player would one day dominate the sport. Cristiano recognized that he had just faced a footballer who represented everything the game could be at its most beautiful. That first meeting did not create a rivalry, it created a legacy intersection. One man would continue to enchant the world with smiles, flair, and unforgettable moments. The other would transform discipline, ambition, and obsession into records, trophies, and statistical immortality. On that day, football didn't choose sides. It simply witnessed history in its earliest form.